everybody. How you doing today? If you're new here, my name is Sherry. I'm an adult with ADHD, possibly autism, working it out. It's very confusing. The more you learn about it, the more confusing it gets. But for those who are tired of hearing me say this, I did learn that I want to say 80 to 90% of people who will watch your content are people who have never seen it before. And even though I know some of you, I've gotten to know some of you and care about you very much, and I appreciate your support and your helping me out and me helping you guys out with any insight I have, I forget there are other people. So each one of these videos, I will probably say the thing you've heard a million times, just because they don't know, right? So if that sounds interesting to any of you guys that have not seen my channel before, and I do want to get back to that sort of content where I can do educational content, teaching you all that I've learned about ADHD over the years, because I was diagnosed 25 years ago at 25. And I've struggled throughout my life to come up with different practical tools that I can actually use to help me track my progress, to bring some kind of structure, which is like my white whale, if that's the right saying. It's just like this mission impossible. But if I don't find ways to do it, how am I going to keep a job, right? So it's definitely worth not giving up. And for my friends who have gotten to the point where if you're anything like me, I have periods in my life, or I've had periods in my life, probably before I was diagnosed and some after. I think they were all, before I was open to the idea that I might also have major depression, which I knew I had depressive episodes, but what my awareness was, because both of my parents have had it, I felt that the point of view of perhaps not having healthy emotional skills to pivot and deal with things in life, that maybe it was more situational. And so from a young age, I felt that just because I have people in my family who have struggled with depression, I wasn't somebody who knew if they actually did or not, like a chemical imbalance. So for those of you who don't have depression, major depression, and I'm just going to cover this briefly. So people can actually have episodes of depression if they don't have the chemical imbalance. If you've been through trauma, which is a lot of people, abuse, just traumatic things happen in your life, and you go for months, sometimes years, of it impacting you to the point that you can't function. You lose your job. You are home. You don't leave your home. You have to go seek mental help. That's suffering. That is important. That still counts. That is depression, right? I always felt that that's the kind I had. It wasn't until many years later, after I went through a divorce, where it had gotten to the point that it was starting to get scary, and it was recommended that I go on medication. I have pretty much been avoiding it my whole life, going, nope, you guys are convinced that that's what you have. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I'm just going to live my life. I'm going to go ahead and try to just make adjustments and motivate myself with all these self-help books. I got all the self-help books. Oh my gosh, starting sometime in my early 20s, maybe, I started really being interested in psychology, personality. You'll see me talk about Myers-Briggs. So I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm a later Gen Xer. I'm kind of like right on the cusp. So yeah, I graduated high school in 93. So somewhere between then and the Y2K, because that's right before I was diagnosed. And I had to actually go through something that was kind of traumatic to me to and have something that probably used to be called, probably like what used to be called a mental breakdown, which is a depressive episode. And it actually saved my life. Yeah, it wasn't good. But wow, I'm already talking about this and I wasn't even going to go there. What was I going to say about that? So incidentally, my videos may be hard to watch sometimes because I don't edit them right now. Part of it is because I have been recovering from a burnout and I had been out of work for a while. I've come back 1 day a week, which has helped tremendously. And then, of course, there is the struggle of I'm still trying to get my life back on track, like many of you. I knew I was functional at one point. I knew I was successful. That's the thing that, like, blows your mind, is it's like, wait a second. There are times in my life that I was uber successful, like more successful than anyone around me who was attempting to do those things. So how do these two states exist at different times in the same person? So yeah, I'm not quite where I am now. I'm not quite at ground zero. I'm better off than there. Not judging it. I'm just grateful. And I feel like that's kind of like when you're in quicksand, that things have gotten so bad. You've isolated yourself so much and you've gotten yourself into a depression for whatever reason, whether it's because of your situation and you're blaming yourself for failures, like being in the wrong job, and that's all you ever hear is what you're not good at. So you keep blaming yourself because that's what you hear. Doesn't make it true. Not that the challenges aren't there. That's really hard. That is definitely something I wanted to talk about this week. There is one of my friends who I've met, one of our subs here, who I kind of relate to. I'll have to talk to him some more. If you're like me, and it's different from all of us, a lot of us who are neurodivergent, who have either ADHD, autism, or both together, have coexisting mental health issues. And if you think about it, the challenges that somebody who is neurodivergent goes through on a daily basis and has been struggling against since they were a child, which now is like a trigger when your life breaks down for whatever reason, like maybe in the hills in the valley, maybe you're in a valley. Maybe the last few years you've had one too many failures, one too many jobs not work, and now you're just despondent. Because from your point of view, it doesn't, everybody else seems to be successful. And people don't get it. They don't understand. If you are in a work environment and there aren't other neurodivergent people, and you don't understand why you're triggered to rage, like instant rage from certain noise, and you can't contain it, and you shouldn't have to, but it's like you have been conditioned to mask. It's tough. How do you not blame yourself? How do you function? That's one of the things that I would like to do definitely with you guys. If I know that I haven't been doing my regular content. A lot of them are here and there. I've been doing updates on where I'm at now. It hasn't been, even though technically I'm stable in the sense that I have a place to live. I still have a job, even though it's 1 day a week. And I'm stable enough now that I can start to build the groundwork to find something else that I can do that does not give me that level of anxiety. And I still don't understand it because with the job that I have now, like I'm cashiering. I've been doing retail my whole life. So it's not like it's difficult. And there's so many things I really enjoy. I really, really like it. Seeing people I care about, certain customers I've gotten to know and care about. I love them. And my coworkers, I really love them. It's work relationships and everything, but I care about people, So when I see them, I get really happy. And I've isolated myself to the point that that's my connection to humans, right? So it does mean a lot to me, and I do enjoy it. So it's funny because all of the jobs that I have done, I think that the thing that drains me the most is, with working with the public and all of that masking, which I'm just starting to kind of learn this past year after I had a burnout, which totally does not make sense to me. Had no clue I'm high masking. But I have been doing a lot of reflection in the last few weeks and the last few months, remembering things from when I was young that I forgot all about. It's hard. What would you guys like to talk about this week? Oh, so I did film something on Monday, so I will tell you. And the reason why I haven't posted it yet is because the last 2 days I've been in a different headspace. And I have had some pretty huge moments of not tough love, but awarenesses that I have not had before. So very eye-opening. It's like there's a couple of different things, and it's been making me reflect and reevaluate everything, which I'm learning as I'm learning more about Myers-Briggs. And I'll tell you why that has been so helpful for me. Take it with a grain of salt. It's not the end-all be-all. But, when you have a different personality and a different temperament, which I'm feeling like neurodivergence is very similar to that in a lot of ways, right? So it's the same as far as like the world is set up for productivity. So sorry, I'm dehydrated. Oh, I started my planner again. You'll be proud. So Monday I had a very productive day and I filmed it. And I am still going to put that together. I was going to do it that night. And I exercised. And I was just going to do like a few minutes walking. And I listened to some dance music that I was like, yeah. And I was like almost like dance walking for 15 minutes. And I had no idea how out of shape I actually was. And so in the beginning of the morning on Monday, I was so excited that I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to post that. I'll post that today too. I'm like, hey guys, it's 7:30. It was early in the morning. Now, a couple of things happened that day. I was groggy when I went to get my medicine. I take 2 antidepressants. I know this is oversharing, but this is part of what a lot of us have. And so I think it's important. You guys don't have to share this, but me, I don't have to say what I take, but I take 2 different medications for my depression and 1 for my ADHD. Because I have not been using my pill case for a number of months and my planner, it turns out I haven't been using my planner since December. I don't know what happened. So Monday morning, I started off the day good. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have to do the 30-day thing that I tried last year. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stick to it, but I need to make these changes so I can bring you guys with me and see what works. And I was trying to come up with a more simplified version that I can do that isn't too much. Something where I can do the minimum tasks to get up, make sure I eat something, make sure I have some protein so my brain is working better. You need protein for your body to make, as far as I know, you need protein or your body cannot make the neurochemicals that you need, that you're deficient in. So if you're taking medicine that's helping you and you're already deficient, but you don't have enough protein for your body to make more, it's like your medicine is working harder than it needs to be. You're working harder than you need to be. So however you want to fit that into your lifestyle, take that however it works for you. And I always forget. I always say I'm going to look up more information. I need to start making notes so that I remember. Let's see. So I woke up early. I was super excited. I did my routine. I brought you guys with me. I am going to post this. It's not long. I kept the little bits of filming in between each thing I was doing pretty short. I was really proud. And then when I got to the exercise part, yeah, I get so pumped because of the music, which was great, right? You should not do too much on your first day of exercise. And I've been walking here or there, but maybe I haven't walked in the last couple weeks and I forgot. Maybe I don't realize that maybe it's been longer than I think. I didn't realize I was that out of shape. Even when I was in my 20s, if I started to do, like I have a Pilates, was it a tape? Was it a cassette? Was it VHS tape? I think it's a VHS tape. And I love it. And I should still do it. I should go find it. But I don't have a VCR anymore. And it's a Denise Austin Pilates one. I know she has a bazillion, but this one was really nice because, and it was just the first one. There's 2 workouts. It was just the first one because she is not stressful. She's just like, just do what you can. And every time I watched it, it was so affirming. And even when I started using that in my 20s, like that didn't like necessarily wear me out. But when I actually started doing the walking or incorporating any kind of like aerobics or like that kind of movement, which you're supposed to do. I remember even back then at like my healthiest, most of my youth, the first day I would be so huffing and puffing. My body's so not used to it that I would just kind of like lay on the floor and pass out and fall asleep and not realize it. And then wake up like 20 minutes, half an hour later and go, oh. And it sucks because then it kind of rendered me useless. Like I couldn't do much the rest of the day. And I could push against that. But I don't know about you guys, but for me, when I'm starting new habits, which I'm going to be doing, trying to do too much too soon, at least for me, is a recipe for failure. So as much as it frustrated me, I was like, yeah, guys, we're going to do this, and I was telling you ways that you could adapt it if you're just starting out so you don't have to do all the things that I do. And I have been used to some of this stuff already. So for me, it's not too much of a shock. But when you first start out, you really just want to start with like 1, maybe 2 things. Not, I'm going to clean the bed and I'm going to do the dishes and I'm going to vacuum the house. And it seems easier in your head. You can see yourself do those things. And though each of those things by themselves doesn't take a lot of time, you can't visualize or imagine the things that are going wrong, that will go wrong because of your brain. It's going to happen. You're going to space out. You're going to all of a sudden, I think, was it Ego Shredder or Hawkon? One of you guys had mentioned to me that feeling in the afternoon when you suddenly have to go to sleep. I struggle with that hard, man. hard. And that knocked me out. So it's kind of funny because I was going to, after I was huffing and puffing, I was like laying on the floor and I've like got the camera up and I'm like, oh, I can't do any more, guys. Okay, I'm going to rest. And that was fully intending on doing other things. And then like I went to lay down and I'm like, okay, this isn't a failure. I'm giving you guys advice, but myself also, to realize that, oh, there's going to be lots of things that are going to pop up that's not going to work for you, that are going to prevent you from doing the thing that you're so excited about, that you visualized, and it's frustrating. And it's like, it's hard to anticipate, right? Because they're invisible. Because our brain works different. All of the executive functioning issues, the poor working memory, the inability to prioritize, all of these things because our brain is physically wired differently. So yeah, I want to get more information about that because I think that is so important. And I've been so focused on getting better that I haven't, it's like my symptoms and the issues I have that I want to help people with are getting in the way of me doing content to help you with. Because they keep coming in and setting me backwards. Ugh. But I won't give up if you don't give up. If you are new here and you can learn one thing and you have ADHD. Now, I talk about both because I have friends who have autism that I have things in common with. I have a lot of there are certain symptoms or traits that somebody with ADHD could also have, or somebody with autism could have. So that's what makes it kind of murky, whether I have ADHD or if it's just extra spicy ADHD, because I have all these shared traits. So I haven't been able to find one trait that's in the list of traits for autism that's supposed to be just autism that someone with ADHD wouldn't or couldn't have. I was thinking if I could do that, that would be helpful. I'm like, can I just identify one symptom or trait, a characteristic that someone with autism has that nobody with ADHD only could have? If I could identify that and see if I have that, that would help me, right? I don't know how to be more expeditious. I don't know the word. Like, I feel like it's just a matter of me. It almost feels like, when you're young and you lose somebody for the first time, and you learn about grieving for the first time, and you just think that you can do it on your own time. Or if you are somebody who's processing trauma or guilt or pain or loss, the brain does crazy things to protect us from the things that are too painful, that we don't have the tools or capability at that point in time to be able to process. Or like, if your subconscious knows. And I think that's why so many people end up having repressed memories, because the brain knows what you can and can't handle. And so me going back and reflecting on some of these experiences that I've had as a child, it's crazy. It's crazy because there's so much I don't remember. I'm 50. This is hard. And except for my mom, the people who were around me all the time when I was little, they're dead. My brother passed away. My dad passed away. And my mom's in her 80s. And there's a lot of stuff she doesn't remember. And she feels really bad because they knew I was struggling, but they didn't know how to help me. Because they didn't understand what was happening. And I didn't understand what was happening. Little white hair. Yeah, I was thinking about how every time I come on is like in the morning before I did anything with my hair. I just washed it yesterday. How is it looking like this? And I'm like, I should just rename my channel Hot Mess Sherry. I'm a hot mess. I'm a hot mess. I have some songs that pop in my head when I'm struggling with certain symptoms of ADHD, and I haven't sung them yet, but I want to like make some shorts. But I don't yet know how to do that. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I haven't been on TikTok. I've never been on Facebook. I'm such a dinosaur. There's so much I don't know. But yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, I think this week has been nuts for me, guys. There's so much I haven't talked to you about yet. I've been on here for 25 minutes. I'll probably come back on and do another video because I don't want to be doing like hour-and-a-half videos. I just had my counselor appointment for this week. I know I was very distressed last week after having my counselor appointment because she had recommended something, and it was something she mentioned right at the end, which was outpatient hospitalization, which I didn't even know that was a thing. I still don't really know about it. And I've had some time to now process that. I think I was just like freaked out more than anything because here's this thing that reminds me of hospitalization. And I had a friend when I was in high school who was later diagnosed, as far as I know, schizophrenia, and she had to be hospitalized. And I've lost touch with her. And after that, consequently, I ended up, because of moves and other life situations, have lost touch with the family too. But that was tough, man. That was awful. When she first went in there, anytime I called, like they would give the phone to her, but she was on so many medications that she couldn't really talk. So when I hear hospitalization, I think of what my friends have gone through. So she had schizophrenia, and I've had another friend who is somebody I've known more recently. Actually, I did know another person, but I found out about that later, and I never got to talk to them about what happened. And I've lost touch with this person, so I don't really know what happened with that. More recently, somebody who's become a very close friend of mine has had to go into hospitalization more than once. I understand why from some of the things that she's shared with me personally that she's been diagnosed with, that she struggles, but I don't really know the specifics of why and what happened for that to happen to her. And I had known when I first met her that she had that in her past where she had to go to the hospital because of mental health issues that she struggled with. But it had been a number of years, and she hadn't had any of those things happen since I knew her. And we just kind of like lost touch. But for me, it's like if I lose touch with people, unless it's somebody that I choose not to be friends with, which never happens. It's only happened very few times in my life, and something bad has to happen for that to happen. And I won't, so we're not talking about that. But if I lose touch with somebody, because, people move and people go away to college or they get married and things happen and you just lose touch. It's just life, right? It was like one of those things. So I had gone into college to get a degree, and I couldn't really talk with friends so much. And I was just like all or nothing, monotropic thinking, all focused on that. Because it was full time. I knew I had ADHD and I had a lot of challenges. And I hadn't been in college in so many years. I was terrified. So I shut out the whole world. So I hadn't been in touch with her for a long time, maybe months, maybe over a year, I don't know. And then I had reached out to her and she never returned my calls, and it always went straight to voicemail. So I got concerned. And I'm like, please call me back when you get a chance. Because I'm like, something happened to her. How would I know? And then, of course, feeling guilty, I hadn't been in touch with her. Eventually, she did get in touch with me. And we did go out to eat, to hang out and catch up. And she shared with me that she had to go to the hospital for mental health reasons. And I'm the type of person, and this is just me, when you're talking about things that are that triggering, that painful for people, I never expect people to share things with me because that's not fair. It's not fair to them. It's invasive. And as much as I wanted to know, because I want to, you want to protect your friends. You want to make sure you can be supportive of them. What do you need? What are your needs? Are you safe? What happened? Is there anything I can do? But at the same time, if I were in her shoes, maybe that's the last thing I would want to talk about. And she didn't want to talk about it. And she said, yeah, I just went in for a rest. And so I knew, and I let it go. And I've always left that door open. And I think I might have gently, years later, like referred to it and like kind of like put the bait out there. Not bait, but just like let that door open. Like, hey, I'm always here. I won't judge you, but you don't have to share. And she hasn't, and that's okay. That's okay. I love her. She's my friend. I love her dearly. She's a sweetheart. And I always want her to be safe. And I never want her to blame herself, which she does, which I get. Which we do as neurodivergents, because all you ever hear your whole life is what you're not good at. Like everybody looks at you like there's something wrong with you. So, and then to actually have to go through that. Why did I end up talking about this? Oh, when my counselor mentioned that to me last week as an option for me to learn about, that if I was stuck, if my depression wasn't getting better, that she felt that was basically, she was giving me a menu of additional options. Like maybe we can kind of troubleshoot this, like get an outside opinion, I guess is what she was saying. And this is the menu of additional options that we haven't looked at before. And she just kind of threw it out there. But I think because the word hospitalization was in there, and I know how bad it has to be for somebody to be hospitalized, even though it's outpatient. I know that seems more intensive than regular counseling, right? I'm like, do you spend part of a day there? I mean, what is that? I still don't know. I think because I was so triggered. And then some other things happened that I'm not prepared to get into right now. But that I'm processing that happened in my life. Nothing bad. Well, not fun, but nothing to worry about safety of my mom. She's fine. Nothing. Just something. Yeah, I can't talk about it right now, but I will. When it's the right time. I'm processing a lot. So this week has kind of mentally been almost a tough love week in a way, because I've been coming to terms with certain things and realizing how I'm sabotaging myself and how there's only this specific way that I wasn't being honest with myself about a lot of things. So I don't want to call it like a come to Jesus moment. I don't know how you describe this. It was kind of like tough love. You ever get a moment of clarity and it's not necessarily something you wanted to know, but you're like, oh, I do that. Oh, that's bad. Oh, I need to work on that. Yeah. Is there any other way I can work on that? Besides this way, that's very unnatural for me. No. I don't have to change it for other people. I can do it for me. So, yes, some of the stuff that I'm learning about this week. And so I started to do new habits on Monday, but yesterday it was like a therapy day for me. I had questions on some of these revelations I had that I was like, it's like somebody shone a flashlight into my brain and showed me with a mirror something that either I didn't know or wasn't acknowledging it, but when it was shown to me, I couldn't deny it. And I was like, oh, F. Yeah. And I don't know how to describe it without getting into the why and what happened to bring me there. Sometimes the unpleasant things that happened in life are the things that make you grow, but not because of reacting to it, which that could be sometimes too. But let's say you've been struggling with something your whole life and you get a new perspective on something that you never realized. And you realize you have to do something else. And you know what it is, and it's not easy. And this is outside of counseling. So for this situation that happened that wasn't good, and which is not end all be all, and also reaction to that, I am not going to let myself get to that point to have more depression. I'm not allowing my depression get worse. Like it was a reaction to last week that I'm like, no, that's it. I'm done. Those are what triggered me to clean that day. I'm like, that's it. Yeah, and I haven't been able to share certain things with you because I'm still kind of like working things out in my mind. I'm making like a huge shift, and because it's orienting myself to a different mindset that is kind of opposite from how I am naturally. But I'm not trying to change myself, if that makes sense. But I'm trying to learn something that people around me who are opposite of me are good at that I'm not. And that's hard. You have to be honest with yourself sometimes. So like, I'm an INFP. I'm an introverted, intuitive feeling type. And the feeling doesn't just have to do with emotions. It has to do with, and I don't get like crazy into Myers-Briggs. I don't fully understand how they get the function stack. I don't understand like all of it. I grew up around Myers-Briggs, but they didn't get into that. They just looked at it as a way at my parents' work to understand other people in a work environment. So instead of hating the person and thinking they're an idiot or they're selfish or whatever it is that personality looks in relation to how you view the world, and then you learn about that personality and why they act that way, it helps you. So you still might think that, I'm not like that. Oh, that sucks. That's not how I would do it. But at least now you know why they are that way. And instead of resenting them and expecting them to change and that your way is the right way, it brings awareness, right? So, yeah, I guess it was kind of like a come to Jesus moment. I don't know any other way. Some very uncomfortable truths. Nothing terrible. I'm not running off to join the circus, and I don't thankfully, thank God, or whatever higher power exists, that I don't have schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder. You know, I've had a friend who was diagnosed with that, and since they have changed this person's diagnosis, but they struggle with some heavy things that I can't even imagine. And they blame themselves, which is terrible, because they find themselves experiencing these symptoms and they think they're a bad person because they think that they should be able to control it, but they can't. Just like we can't control being neurodivergent. But that doesn't mean that I can't learn from these people who are absolutely opposite of me. It's so uncomfortable, guys. Oh, I don't want my life to just be about work and productivity. Oh my God, I hate that. Like, my parents, all they did was work, work, work. And they were in a different generation, right? It was a different time. You know, in the 80s, women came into the workplace more and they were equals. But it forms a totally different personality in a child, right? So if you grow up with lots of siblings, and then you also grow up in a culture where the mothers stayed home and it was like a community, a tribe. So cousins grew up with cousins and you had siblings and you might not all like each other, and that's fine. And you might not all respect each other, but you're part of a group, you know, and the person who doesn't, like me, doesn't grow up in an environment like that, it's very painful because not only do you not know how to define yourself, you know, you don't know how to be in the world because you were never part of a group, you know. And then when you get old enough to be in grade school and all of that, it's tough, you know. And so they can put you in different, like a summer camp or whatever. They didn't know about neurodivergence. So I always apologize and say I'm rambling because I don't even know what I just talked about. So I might be. I want to apologize for apologizing. And I don't know how to stop apologizing. Because I feel like it must be annoying. But I know some of the stuff I talk about is really important. So, as I get more clarity, yeah, it's really hard for me to talk about this thing. And it's so huge. It's like such a potential huge, like, change in my life. It might be the thing that I guess you'd say fix me. I won't ever be able to be neurotypical, nor do I want to. I will never not be an INFP. I'll always be this feeling, and the F for feeling just reflects to how you make your decisions in life. I won't get into it, but like the two middle letters are your cognitive functions. It's how you think, how you take information in is the second letter, if I'm remembering this right. And then the third one is how you make decisions with that information. So if you have the F for feeling, your priority and how your preferences are about values. So when you look at the information of a situation, you are going to look at facts. You are going to look at values, meaning, okay, well, what is the consequence if I make this choice in this situation? How's it going to affect me? How's it going to affect other people? So all of those things are important, and we all look at all of those things. But as like somebody with my personality values that more. So yeah, I'm not going to not look at facts. Some people think if you have the F for feeling instead of the T for thinking that you're not smart. No, but I do prioritize the effect that my decisions or certain decisions, whether it's in the culture or at my job or what you do in different situations, I want to do, like, what's the right thing to do, what is going to be the least harmful for people, unless like you're in some life or death situation, which then protect yourself, please. You don't have to tell everyone everything. You don't have to be honest to a fault. You don't have to be giving to a fault. We don't have to sacrifice ourselves for other people. We don't have to be, don't do that. It's not good for you. It's not good for anyone. We have to be, and it's tough. We have to learn how to be just in general. We don't have to, but it would be helpful if on your journey, if you find out you do struggle with people pleasing or codependence. I don't know if that's a neurodivergent thing. I know that people pleasing happens a lot for both ADHD and I believe autism as well. People with autism tend to struggle with freeze or fawn, which is people pleasing, because you might not know how to react in a situation. So you might do what you think is what they want, because who wants to be rejected? You want to be part of a group. You want to be part of a family. You want to be loved and accepted. Everybody wants that. And if you're neurodivergent, you have challenges there that get in the way of that other people I don't think can understand. And it's not their fault. What am I talking about today? I started some new habits. I'm going to put together the video I made Monday, and I'm going to post it. Then Tuesday was some serious heart-to-heart talk with myself. I did not hear voices. I sat there and I had to really reevaluate some things that were uncomfortable truths about myself, my challenges, things I've been doing the last few years, why certain things haven't been working, what things I have to change. And that I do want to talk to you about. There's a lot of processing because I'm still in the middle of that. Ugh. It's so uncomfortable. This is what growth is. You know how they say there's no failures, there's opportunities for growth? I hate that saying. A lot of people hate that saying because growth is painful. To grow your muscles, you have to exercise. When you're not used to exercising, you don't want physical pain because you don't want to injure yourself, but it's not comfortable. To get strong in something, you have to do the things you're not good at. It's not comfortable. And then when you do, eventually, if you do, my situation might be very different from all of you. I mean, you might have disabilities that I don't. So you might not have anything that is you doing something wrong. I had some realizations of things that I am doing wrong. Not wrong as in bad, right or wrong, like hurtful, or just things that aren't not the right way to go about doing things. Attitudes, perceptions that I have been doing that have been harmful for me. It's really hard to absorb that. When they talk about doing the work, when you go to counseling and you start to have, and this was just something I was doing for myself, and it was triggered by something that was a huge challenge that was not comfortable, that pissed me off. But I also at the same time wanted to take responsibility for my things too. And ultimately, that's all I have control over. And it's tough that my communication with my loved ones it's like we're talking two different languages. They're not neurodivergent. And so a lot of times I don't talk, or like in my relationship, I talk all the time. And he's not a talker. And how do you learn communication with somebody who is an ISTP? That's hard. So yeah, I've made some adjustments. I did some things as well that I knew would help the relationship because I needed to do them anyway. I started that process. That's what the cleaning was, part of that. And I can't remember what happened during the weekend. That's another reason that I want to start using the planner, because even just taking notes like, oh, I had a flu or I had a cold, then when I go back and say, hi, how come I got out of these bedtime habits, wake up habits? It's a way for me to track how many glasses of water I had. Did I take a shower that day? Things that regular people don't have to think about. We don't really form habits the same way. It's much more challenging. So just if you struggle with PDA, which they call pathological demand avoidance, I have ADHD. I don't know if I have autism, but both, even though originally they thought of it as an autism thing, people with ADHD have demand avoidance quite often. As soon as somebody tells you to do something or you feel it's imposed on you, you absolutely can't do it, because then you cease to exist. This will make no sense to other people. But when you haven't been allowed to have autonomy in your life and people have constantly told you the way you're doing things is wrong or imposing things onto you, of course you're going to do that, because you don't know any other way to be an independent person on your own. So that planner, the mindset, if you do decide to use one, because that's not going to work for everybody, that's when I look at that, I know that I can change my tasks from week to week, and I do. There are certain things, oh, my battery's going to die. I'll just finish it up really quick. There are certain things that I do have to do every day, make sure I do, even if I don't do any of them. And that's to take my pills, to eat breakfast, because if I don't take my antidepressant, it takes me several days to get back on track. That's foundation. That's first. That is key. If you have to do that, especially if you have a medicine that has no half-life, you don't want to rebound and have worse depression and mood swing the next day, and then it take you several. That will F up all of your attempts to get structure and stability in your life and build a life where you can then go out and work, and you can make money, and you can cope with these things, and you can make different choices to be independent. So when I look at that, those are suggestions. My gut feeling is, as soon as I write it, if I don't do those things, I feel like a failure. That's not what you're doing. This is an idea, an ideal of what would be great. But even if I only do one, even if I have a week where I don't do any of them, I'm just starting to learn about myself. I'm getting back on track. Give yourself grace. Lessen your expectations on yourself. And if you find a way to track what you're trying to improve, even if it's just one thing, the time you go to bed and wake up, that's huge. Shout out to, is it Ego Shredder that is doing that? That's amazing. He stuck to it for like 3 weeks now, I think. And I'm like, awesome. I can't even do that. My phone just got dark. I think I have like 5%. I love you guys. You put up with me, with my messiness. And I'm all over the place, but that's just what it is. And I'll talk to you soon. Yeah. Huge, huge, huge shift in me. I have no idea how to explain it to you. It's shocking. It's stuff I didn't want to look at. Yeah. Once I absorb it all, process it, and then figure out how much of the shift am I taking on, why, and how to keep it, how to keep a new mindset when immediately I want to revert to the old one that just wants to cry. What's that doing for me? How do I do that as a neurodivergent person? How do I shift myself away from this reactive, going to have a meltdown every time I go to attack? How do you do that? I don't know if it's possible, but I'm going to try this. Call me crazy. So we'll see what happens. I'm probably not going to do a video about this for a couple of weeks because it's so opposite of me. I think it's... Hello, neurodivergents and fellow phoenixes, and those who love and support us. I'm sorry that my video got cut off because my battery died in the middle of filming that, but please tune into the next one because I do have a part 2. I did record it later on that evening, but it is much shorter. So I love you guys. Have a good night or a great rest of your day, and do something kind for yourself. Love you. Drink your water. Bye.